what we're going to do next is called third-party verification, okay? This is probably one of the most impactful trainings, probably out of my career, the top 3, that has popped a light bulb in my head. She's going to be, most of the content is having to do with recruiting and agent attraction, but it's the same process, whether it's a listing or a buyer or a referral partner, one of these CPAs, attorneys, or financial planners that you're going to go and meet, one of these mega whales that you're going to have an appointment with. So I'm going to print out some of the forms. She's got about 10 minutes of intro, and then I'll hand out the forms so you guys can have them and put them in here. But without further ado, boom, we're going to start this, hopefully.
Okay, so how many of you, when you got up this morning, looked in the mirror and the person looking back at you, you thought this thought, I am a master recruiter? Just by a show of hands. Okay, so I have that thought every morning when I get up. I love recruiting. Now, I love how there's some language that softened it up called agent attraction. However, attraction is about you hoping that you've got a great enough brand, that you're having enough fun, that people are going to notice what you're doing and flock to you going, oh my gosh, tell me about what you're doing with your real estate career and why you're at EXP. Honest? Right? Okay, agent attraction is about you and making it about you. Recruiting is about making it about the other person. So here's what I want to introduce as just a mindset shift when you hear the word recruiter. A recruiter is someone that cares enough about another human being that they're willing to sit down and have a conversation about what's going on for that person, what's working in their life and their business, what's not working, what can be improved, what are their hopes and their dreams, and then positioning as the resource to help them get it. So when someone says to you, I don't want to be a recruiter, or I don't like recruiting, what they're really saying is, I don't care about learning about another person and what's important for them, and then becoming a resource in their life to help them get it. Recruiting is not a dirty word. Recruiting is one of the most incredible words ever, because think about it, each and every one of us have the opportunity to play a small role in a decision that could forever change the trajectory of someone's life. Brent was that person for Rick, right? So what we're going to do is jump in today, and it's going to be a fire hose, and I'm a little bit intense. However, it's because I'm excited and I love the topic.
You're what, intense? A little bit?
A little bit. Yeah, I'm a little bit intense. So how many of you think, oh, I don't know if my timing, like, what's my timing like? You know, there was just, you know, however many years ago, how many agents were there when we came to EXP? 2,400. Now there's 38,000. Maybe I missed the boat. How many of you are familiar with something called the Rogers adoption curve of innovation? By a show of hands? One person. Okay, so here is where we're at. The Rogers adoption curve of innovation is how ideas and technologies and transformational things are accepted into the market. 2.5% of the population are innovators. These are people like Glenn Sanford that run a science experiment that goes right, where when he tells people the idea, they go, oh my gosh, you're crazy. I can't ever see that happening. Those are the innovators. I'm not an innovator. However, what I am is an early adopter. 13.5% of the population are early adopters. And these are people that they can look at an innovator's idea, they can see the future flash before their eyes, and they go, oh yeah, I didn't think of it, but this is going to be really big. The smallest portion of people outside of innovators are these early adopters. This is where EXP is at right now.
Yeah.
So time is not created equal. All windows of time are not created equal. Somebody that understands this will know that when you compress time, energy, and effort, called massive action, into a small window of time at a critical moment in time, that you can create more than what would otherwise take you a lifetime to create. And anybody that's sitting here in this room right now is part of that 13.5%. What happens from that is when enough early adopters get on board, then this next group called the early majority pop up, which is 34%. And the early majority are people that are like, wow, well, there's enough people doing this now that it's not perceived as a risk, and so they're willing to come on board. The late majority is that group of people that perceive risk, that are never willing to take a risk. And then the laggards are the 15% that are still walking around with flip phones. Okay? So here's how innovation works. So if you wonder, like, where are we in the stream of time? We're in the early adopter stage. So you could not be positioned more powerfully than you're positioned right now. So we talk about EXP having leverage, and here's how I like to look at it. The model itself is like a Ferrari. Anyone that's in a brokerage that's not with EXP is on a 10-speed bike. If we line up at a racetrack and you're with another brokerage on your 10-speed bike and I'm in my Ferrari and we both hit go and go as hard and as fast as we can at the same time, what's going to happen? There is no way that you are ever going to go as fast or as far on your 10-speed bicycle as I'm going to go in my Ferrari, because it does not contain the same mechanics. The mechanics of leverage exist within EXP, which make it superior to any other model out there. It doesn't matter what people say or think. So let's talk about this. Now, you might be like my husband. I met him in a real estate class at the beginning of 2005 when I was a newly licensed agent. I sat in his class, I came home, and I called my mom, and I was like, oh my God, I just met the Jesus Christ Sean Connery of real estate. I mean, he's like the most amazing instructor, like real estate, seriously. And Rick is one of those people who he recruits based on his personality because of who he is, right? I am not that person. And there's not a lot of people that recruit based on personality. It's a small percentage of people. There's no way that you're going to build a scalable organization that's going to be ginormous if it's going to be dependent 100% on you. So this principle of leverage comes into play once you're in EXP building an organization. And how do you get the person that doesn't view themselves as a recruiter because they don't have the right perspective or mindset shift on that yet? And how do you get someone to fall in love with that behavior and activity so that you can get scalable growth and build an amazing organization? And if you do, here's the power of the model. I'm just going to say this is a legal disclaimer if this ever hits public. It's never going to happen like this. However, if you have 5 people that you personally attract that cap, that's $14,000 in rev share a year. If you taught those 5 to do the same thing and they actually did the same thing, you pick up another $80,000 in rev share a year. That's $94,000 of rev share a year. What if they half cap? That's still close to $4,000 a month. Now, what if you had that replicating in your organization? You can see as that replicates, it's the penny that's compounding interest. That's a freaking lot of money. Okay, so third-party validation is the leverage of how to build and scale once you're in EXP and going to build an organization. So by show of hands, how many of you feel super confident around this idea of bringing a senior partner or a colleague into the conversation when you are working on recruiting or prospecting someone? How to do it, what to say, by show of hands. Okay, so like half of you. Would you agree that if you have a set of skills or a system, it no longer becomes personality dependent or experience dependent, and anyone can do it? I'm going to give you the system, I'm going to give you the skills so that you can replicate that with anyone in your organization. And if you're willing to do that yourself, the benefits to that. So here's the benefits of third-party validation. When you say, I've got a team of people that I work with, if you never use third-party validation, where's the team? So you're modeling the behavior that you want to communicate as you grow your organization. The second thing is a due diligence process. Everyone is going to go through their own, usually it takes 5 to 7 different exposures before someone's going to make a decision. So when you bring in a third-party validation or multiple different people into the conversation, you're supporting a due diligence process, which gives an entirely different perspective, right? Because everyone's going to share their own perspective based on their experience of the same thing. It's like 2 kids that grow up in the same house, and you'll have one talk to the other about their experience growing up, and it's like, what house did you grow up in? Right? It's the same thing when you're recruiting. Having multiple voices to give different perspectives is huge. The support, when you say, oh, what I love about working with EXP is all the support that comes from working together. Well, where's your demonstrating of the support? You can demonstrate that right up front using third-party validation. And then commitment. When you say we're committed to helping you grow, and they have someone that's not you in the conversation, it's a demonstration of that commitment. And finally, if you do it correctly, you're getting training and skills while making money versus sitting here learning about a concept or an idea, not making money, right? We say that training doesn't work, work trains. So every time you bring a new prospect to a conversation and have a third-party conversation, your job is to sit there and be quiet and listen. Listen to how those questions are being answered. Listen to the perspectives that are shared. Mirror and match, like what can you learn from the posture? What can you learn from the confidence? This is going to help you skill up faster every time you use a third-party validation call for one of the prospects that you're working on recruiting. So this is like a foolproof system of like when you see, wow, I could be more efficient, more effective, scale faster, like why wouldn't I use it, right? We do. So I'm going to give you the anatomy now of what a third-party validation looks like. I'm going to tell you what there is to do, and then I'm going to actually model it for you so that you can have an experience of it. You'll notice on some of these slides that we put EXP experience, because would you agree that if you have an experience that you don't care for, you don't really want to have that experience again. If you have an experience that feels amazing, you want to have it over and over again. Would you guys agree? Yeah. Right. So how this came to play, I've been the silent partner in our EXP organization. I'm not responsible for the growth that's happened. However, what I am responsible for is in January, after traveling around with our groups and wanting to crawl under the table as I watched our organization vomit EXP on their prospects, I'm like, oh my God, Rick, this is going to kill our brand. This is going to kill the EXP brand. And while enthusiasm is amazing, enthusiasm in the form of vomit on another human being about what you're excited about is not so amazing, right? So what bridges that gap is enthusiasm plus skills is going to get you results. And so what this is about is skilling up. Like if we're going to be professionals in the industry, if we're going to build a brand that people are like, wow, I just had an experience that I have not had anywhere else. I want to be a part of what's going on here. That is the agent attraction part that comes into play because of the experience that you've been able to create for someone else. So number one is clear the time. Now in the context of a third-party validation, we were in Southern California. We did an event for our group down there, and one of our main guys set up a meeting with this man that owns a brokerage. He's created huge success and he's big in the community. We had an hour set up. He came to the meeting 15 minutes late that was in his office. We were sitting in the meeting room waiting, right? So this is going to happen. First thing is, hey, I know we had an hour set up for this meeting. It's not about him being late. Just want to reconfirm that we're good to the top of the hour because we had an hour set aside. That, at the beginning of the conversation, gives him the opportunity to say, yeah, that works great. Or it gives him the opportunity to say, I actually only have like 15, 20 minutes right now. So you're able to know the time frame if you check in on the time right up front and work to create the maximum amount of value in that time. If it's a, yeah, go ahead.
So make sure that you guys get that based on your behavioral style, that 97% of the human public, based on behavioral styles, DISCs, you get that? Do any of you have an idea about that? Yeah. 97% of humans will have trouble behaviorally asking to clear the time. It's not comfortable. She has driven it into my head for 8 years. And it's just day before yesterday. She goes, I heard no clearing of the time.
The kiss of death is for Rick to do validation calls with me in the car.
Or anywhere in earshot. I'll think she's on a webinar in the other room and I'm safe and she'll come in and she'll go, I heard that. You sucked.
I never say that.
Well, you kind of do.
If you know him, you know that he's a little dramatic and I'm a little direct, so we make the perfect couple. Okay, so clear the time. Like, this is a really important thing. If it's a call, and I've got a call set up for noon, and I'm calling Rick, you know, hey Rick, it's Casey. We had a call scheduled for noon. Just want to make sure, is this still a good time for you? Right? Because sometimes people will pick up the phone when it's not, and there's people that are driven by sincerity, in other words, like the care and the feeling and the coziness. And then there's people that are driven by competence, like do what you say you're going to do when you said you were going to do it, and we're good. If not, you just lost my trust. So which one do you think I am, sincerity or competence? I'm competence. Which one's Rick? Sincerity. You guys, we've only been up here for like 10 minutes. So you got to be able to speak with and work with without knowing which someone's based in. This process is going to support you regardless of if someone's sincerity-based or competence-based. It doesn't matter. You don't need to know that much. It's just the person who's sincerity based is going to go, oh, they cared enough about me to check in on my schedule. And the person that's competence based is going to go, wow, they really respect my time. Boom. What I think of you just went up a notch. So clearing the time, while it seems like a small insignificant thing, is such a huge thing if you're going into a meeting or to a call. So second thing is setting the context. The meeting that we were in Southern California last week, I mean, this guy is amazing at recruiting. He's recruited 9 people on his front line in the last 30 days. And he didn't clear the time, so I jumped in and did it in the meeting because we hadn't yet taught him this. And he didn't set the context for the meeting, so it's kind of like, well, you know, we're like here, thanks, you know, for coming together. And it's that awkward moment where it's like, how do we actually start into the conversation? Setting the context for the meeting would sound something like this. Super grateful for this hour together. And, you know, the purpose of us coming together today is I wanted you to meet my senior partners so that you could have an experience of our team and our organization and how we work. And at the same time, satisfy this next layer of due diligence that you're going through to make sure that you get what's important for you during this time.
She said, my senior partner. She didn't use the word upline.
Bad word. Cancel, cancel. Never say upline.
She didn't say my boss, my mentor. It's always my business partner, my senior business partner, whatever you feel fine using. But you stay away from MLM words. And you stay away from stuff that belittles you, the person making the introduction.
Like, I'm not competent to have this conversation, so that's why I brought this person in. Don't do that to yourself. That's not what it's about. So setting the context is key. Think of that as why we're here. And you might think, well, we know why we're here. However, when you state why we're here, it brings everybody energetically and mentally into the room and into the meeting. All right? So setting the context is the second thing. Edify the prospect, meaning the most important person in the room is the prospect. It is not Rick, who has an organization of over 1,700 agents. It is not anyone else. The most important person in the room is the prospect. So edify means literally to tee up. How many golfers do we have? I know we got one. How many golfers do we have in the room? What's the purpose of a golf tee?
Get it off the ground.
To get it off the ground. And when you get it off the ground, what happens when you go to swing at the ball? Less friction, it travels further. If you do a great tee up, a great edification, that conversation is going to be able to travel much further than it is if you don't do that. The reason why you edify the prospect first, aside from them being the most important person in the room, is sometimes people go, well, why can't I just talk to you? Like, I don't know this person. Why do I need to talk to them? And so when you do a proper edification of the prospect in the beginning, what happens is 3 things. Number 1, you're able to break the ice. Number 2, you invest in the relationship. And number 3, you now have their ears. So let me tell you why. Breaking the ice is they get introduced first, like attention's on them. How you edify someone is, Rick, what I like about you is, Rick, what I admire about you is, Rick, what I respect about you is. And it's what's true, and it's what your experience is of that person. No matter what, when you leave that meeting, you've invested in that relationship, because words of affirmation, which is a huge love language for people that don't get affirmed enough, they've just been acknowledged in the time that they spent with you, which means they feel good about being in your presence. So yeah, Rick, what I love about you is how much you love people. Rick, what I love about you is, no, I already did love. Can you see we're married? Rick, what I respect about you is you have one of the most powerful work ethics of anyone I've ever met. Right? Rick, what I admire about you is that you're willing to fail and fail and fail and get up again and again and again and again. If you do that and you watch the body language, the posture, the face soften, you now have brought that prospect's full attention into your meeting.
You do all 3 of those at the same time?
No, those were examples.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to do like a run through so you can have an experience of it at the end. Those are just whatever you resonate with based on your relationship with that person. And so now any walls that they had of thinking, oh, this person that's this third-party validation person, this senior partner, this business person is going to hammer me about EXP and try and convince me to join EXP. This is what most people are thinking, right? This is just what they think. Then you give them a totally different experience. their walls have come down and you're only in the introduction. Edification is huge. The second person to edify is whoever your senior partner, your business partner, your colleague, whatever you want to call them, is the person that's going to be facilitating the conversation. Why are we edifying that person?
Because the person doesn't know them and you're bringing respect.
Exactly. Build credibility. That person doesn't know them, bring them respect. I don't want Rick sitting down in a meeting and saying, hey, I used to own 9 Keller Williams offices, and I was one of their top speakers, trainers, and coaches during the years I was there. Because now Rick sounds like an arrogant ass. Don't put your partner, don't put your partner in a position to have to talk about how great they are. When you edify their partner that's going to take over that call, like, man, your prospect, the goal is for them to be feeling like, holy cow, I'm getting 30 minutes with this guy. How did that happen? Right? So when I edify my senior partner and say, you know, while I really respect that at one point Rick owned 9 Keller Williams offices and was one of the top speakers, trainers, and coaches when he was with Keller Williams, what I admire most about Rick is his care for people, and what I love about him is that he is absolutely committed to making a difference. So in 30 seconds or less, I just did an amazing introduction and edification of that senior partner. The longer your edification goes, the more inauthentic it will feel. Go ahead.
Where you start to lose the prospect. Yeah. When we've talked to people about this, Casey's much better at teaching it to people on our team, but then so when I've taught it, sometimes they just don't listen as well as they do when she's being direct. And when they're introducing me, it'll be going on, and you can't do it because you're on Zoom and the prospect can see you. I'm like, shut up already. Like, I'm bored and it's me you're talking to. So did you hear? This one doesn't have to be 30 seconds or less. It'd still be better to, but this one, no doubt, you got to keep it 30 seconds or less because you don't want that big puff they had going away. Yes. They still want to seem like the most important person in the room. So.
Thank you. And they are the most important person in the room. So a proper edification, like what's going to happen after this is like butter. Can you see how that would be? Because you've laid a foundation. You've taken the time to lay a foundation. We did this training for someone for a group in our organization. I did this training on Tuesday, and one of the people that was on it had him on a 3-way call, 3-way validation call. Was that yesterday?
Who are we talking about?
Shh, no names. Oh. And I'm like, whoa, no clear the time. She went right to introducing Rick for her people that were there, and energetically, it just felt heavy. It was like, ooh, 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 right? Versus an experience that can be created when you really integrate this. How do I know this? Because it works, right? So my background for 13 years is in direct sales and network marketing, which is recruiting. That's what I've done for the last 13 years of my life.
She built an organization in 17 countries using these concepts, right?
Yeah, so I learned this outside of EXP. However, skill sets are transferable whenever you're working with human beings, right? You take these skill sets and you take this into your buyer and seller consult. You take it anywhere you go because it raises the value of the conversation that you're having, and it's an amazing experience if you learn it and do it. Then what happens is great, these introductions have been done, the conversation gets passed to the person that's going to do the validation conversation. What is your job as the person that's brought the prospect now? Zip it. Under any circumstance, do not open your mouth unless asked to speak. And here's the visual I want you to think of. If it's a tennis game and your prospect's on one side and you've handed it to your senior partner, they're going to have a conversation. They're going to pass the ball back and forth in conversation. What happens if you jump on the same side as your senior partner now and are hitting balls back? It's 2-on-1. You have energetically created a 2-on-1 experience for that prospect, which is push energy, which is what pushes people away. You want to create a pull energy experience where when someone leaves the conversation, they're like, man, I want more of that. I definitely want some more of that because they've had such an amazing experience. So
the higher the D or I are in the person, the person who brought the third-party validation in the prospect, the harder it is to get them to keep their mouth shut, even if they've learned this, right?
So here's our thing that we do. We just go, oh, excuse me, mute. This is all you do.
Yeah.
You don't say stop talking, just like, hey, mute. Did you forget the mute button?
Yeah.
Mute. You train your
Politely,
people, right?
You don't want to embarrass them, but you've really got to get them to stop talking, especially if you're the senior partner that's doing the talking. It just ruins it. So
Yeah, so like how you redirect that is, I love the value that you bring to this conversation, and can we come back to you at the end? That's how you stop someone that's forgotten and is now vomiting in and wants to play 2-on-1. You know what? I super love your enthusiasm and your passion, and I want to make sure that we, whatever value you wanted to add gets added to this conversation. Can we save it to the end? Right? Because otherwise, like somebody that's doing a validation call knows where they're going and they're taking a direction, and if you are in a different lane, in a different direction, you're derailing the conversation, and now you're playing tug of war with your senior partner or validation call person that's there to help and support you, and you've lost the power and the impact of what's possible by doing that. Yeah, go ahead.
And the other thing that happens is you've teed it up to edify your expert, right? And then when you speak, you actually de-edify your expert, and the prospect says, well, I think I just work with Casey. I don't need to talk to Rick. It sounds like you have the answers too. I'll just work with you.
Exactly.
yes,
Yep.
and actually for, like a guy like Brent, if he hears this going on, next time you call him, how's Brent going to feel about saying yes to you?
Correct.
He's like, dude, you don't need me. You derailed the last call and took it over. Like, why do you need me? Right? Don't be that person. Okay, next thing. When the senior partner receives that, let's assume they're meeting the prospect for the first time. Remind me what your name is? Lexi. So if Rick's brought Lexi to the conversation and all this has just happened, I will say something like this. Lexi, thank you so much for taking the time to connect today. Since we're just meeting each other for the first time, tell me a little bit about you. Now, somebody who in the DISC profile is an I, an S, or a C is going to do that. Somebody that is a high D is not going to want to talk personal. They're going to want to get down to business, and they're going to take the conversation over and tell you what they're asking or what they want to know, which is fine, right? Care, competence, right? So you could say, Lexi, since we're just meeting each other for the first time, would love to learn a little bit about you and then find out what would be most valuable for you during our time together. The number one mistake that somebody doing a third-party validation call makes is whatever they're excited about, they just want to share that. And the bottom line is it's usually going to take one thing to recruit someone, and you don't know what that one thing is until they tell you what it is. So the person that's asking the questions controls the conversation. It is not the person spewing EXP information. So this is a great way. So Lexi tells me a little bit about herself. I'm listening for key things in Lexi's story. Where's Lexi's pain? Why? I want to find that pain, and I want to jab my finger in it once it comes to my turn to talk, right? I want to take that pain and kick it up a notch to create a vacuum of oh, wow, if I don't do something about this, right? The next thing is gathering an agenda. Awesome, Lexi. So what would be most important for you during our time together? What can I share? What questions can I answer? What would you like to know? And Lexi might say one thing, and we're not playing tennis now. This is called fact find. Okay, great. What else do you want to know? Okay, great. What else can I share? Okay, great. What else? What else? And I get her entire list of what she wants to know because we've got 30 minutes together or we've got an hour together. And if number 5 is the most important thing on her list and we spend all the time on number 1 because I'm going one at a time, I have not created maximum value for that call. So I want to know everything that's most important for Lexi so she gets everything that she's looking for during our time together, during our conversation together. And Lexi's like, well, that's it. Okay, great, Lexi. If there was one more thing, what would that be? What's your one more thing? And whatever that is, she might go, oh, well, there's this. Oh, well, no, that's it. Okay, great. So now I've got this agenda that's just been gathered for our conversation. And my job now is in the time that we've got left, based on how much time we've set aside, whether that's 30 minutes or whether that's an hour, I can look down at my watch and go, okay, it's 3:32, we have set till 4 o'clock. I essentially have about 20 minutes to get through her agenda items because of what needs to happen after that. And I can manage the time through telling stories or giving examples or challenging the way that she thinks or going back to what I learned about her when we were building rapport, whatever her pain point is, where she says, man, every year I'm working to beat my sales the year before, and I can go, fantastic. Do you want to be having that same conversation a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? If you don't make a change or do something different, 5 years from now, we're going to be having the same dialogue, right? I can take whatever her pain is, and I want to highlight it. So once we've discussed all of that, the most important thing is this. Lexi, what's next for you? Based on what we've talked about today, what would you like next? How many of you have an issue with follow-up? Everybody raise your hands, please. The reason why you have an issue with follow-up is, I'll tell you, because I've been in enough of these conversations as I've traveled the world for the last 13 years, the reason you have an issue with follow-up is because, number one, you're afraid to ask for the business or the close because you don't want to be perceived as pressuring someone. And you don't want to ask for the next date and time because you're afraid they're going to go the other direction. So for somebody that's high competence, where being competent is high on their values, if you don't do that at the end, what you communicate is what you have to offer isn't that important. If you do that with somebody who is sincerity-based at the end, and you don't have a specific next step of what's happening and when, you just communicate to that person that you don't care about them or what they shared or what they want. I had someone ask me the other day, well, what do you use as a CRM to automate your follow-up? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, like, do you have things so you can just, email distribution lists and so they get invited to events and this? And I'm like, no, like, that person is like a helium balloon. If I leave a conversation and I let the balloon go without a next step, a date and time on that next step, they're gone.
Okay, so, sorry, just was turning that off there. So this is a skill set that you guys can acquire. The reason I'm sharing it with you is obviously it'd be great for you guys to go and build your EXP relationship, but it's a relationships through a system like this. But what is important is that you just understand this is an overlay for any relationship that you're building, any listing appointment, any referral relationship. So just some notes here. This process, if you will, is about providing an experience to the client, to the agent attractor, or to the referral partner. If we're talking clearing the time, Rick said it, you couldn't hear it, but he said 97% of people, just because of their personality types, have a hard time being so upfront to ask the validation question. We're here today, half an hour. Do you still have time? Maybe we need to reschedule. How many of you have gone to an appointment where you're running late and you're like, shit, I don't really have 15 minutes. Let's get down to it. Or no, hey, the afternoon's open. So number one is validate. Number two is really, she's put on here, set the context. But that's the why of the appointment, right? Why are you really there? What's the end goal of that meeting? Next is invest through attention and show them that you like and respect them. Shannon, I respect you because you're a go-getter. Like she said all those things. The edification is so important because it crumbles the walls of objections. Like, wow, I'm feeling good. Remember we were talking earlier about how you feel? So all these things, all these characteristics of this sales cycle, if you will, are meant to lend credibility, break down the walls, edify and give energy, set the expectation of the appointment, and then tee it up for you to go and solve their problem. And that's really and then as we can pass up edify senior partner or passing to the senior partner. However, here's the deal, guys. If you're not, in relation to specific to agent attraction, if you're not at the point yet where you're like, hey, I can do this on my own, you should be calling Derek or myself or Brent or Gene Frederick or whoever to come in and make those introductions, have the face-to-face. Let us do this for you, and you plug in with the relationship, right?
Yeah, we've been doing this for the previous company for years, right? So leverage us on that. Yeah, all three of us.
Yeah.
Actually, two, yeah. Brent
Yeah.
as well. I forgot there was a bacon. Sorry, yes. So for anyone in our organization, that's the whole point, is that we're here to support you because we all win when we bring people on in our organization.
We'll put them under you, like.
Yeah,
so
it's
we're
not, yeah, it's
building for
pass
ours.
them off, and then it
Yeah,
could be,
of course, right.
It'll be, like, it could be that we meet together, if you prefer not, it just depends, and then if we're gonna meet together, then we'll go through a couple things that will, help you guys through, because we want it to be a relationship, and a partnership on that, what we're gonna talk about, and things are important, but it could also be where you just pass the torch, you introduce for a couple minutes and then head out, right? However you guys wanna do that and what works best for you, but that's the whole point, we're here to support you guys for your growth on that side.
That's right. And so if I go back to the listing side of things, and we go discuss agenda items, you've got to come up with something that flows naturally. Like, Angie, you know, we've taken time out together to be together today, and you know, I was wondering if you're interested in the 6 things that most selling clients, when I sit down with them, what they want to know about the listing process. Would it be okay if I shared those with you?
Yes.
Right? And so that's a natural thing where you're giving yourself credibility through not saying I sell a ton of houses and being that, you know, slime ball guy, right? Oh, who cares, right? Who cares how many houses you've sold?
Yeah.
But here's what what's most important to most of the clients that I meet with. And the other one is this. Hey, we're here to determine if we can do business together today. So set that up front, and then, you know, you swing back around at the end, and like we talked about when I first got here, we're going to determine if we can do business together, and is there any reason we shouldn't do business together, or what's next for you, Lexi? What's the next step for you, Julie, in this listing process?
Well, the thought process is there too, is we may not be the right fit for one another, but I'd love to connect you with someone that might be the right fit for you, because at least you're getting a referral fee, right?
Yeah, exactly. Love
We're not the
referral.
right fit for one another, right? And then I was just one thing before I go up to you, back to clear the time. Something I learned after totaling my car because I was driving too fast was set 15 minutes buffers on all of your appointments. Because how does it feel when I tell you I have to leave in the middle of a conversation? Like if I'm sitting down with you in lunch, I got to go, right? Like I got to get up and go in the middle of a conversation. If you have that extra 15 minutes, you told them that we're only going to be here for an hour, yet you spend an extra 5-10 minutes. That goes a long way, right? And then you're not rushing your next appointment and rearing somebody.
That's great.
Like I did.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
So Sean, or
Yeah.
both of you really, could you each put together just like some bullet points so it makes this edification of the senior partner, the business partner easier?
Sure.
Like what they've done.
Or like an
Accolades.
introduction?
Sure.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, and I'll just give you a super easy one, right? This is my business partner. He coaches and consults me and helps me with my business. If you're talking about recruiting, he coaches and consults me. He actually gave me 3 for the month of people that I enjoy working with or I look up to in the business. And he gave me 3 coaching calls or 3 coaching meetings that I could utilize. And I'd want to ask you if you wanted to use one because I love what you're doing. I respect what you do.
I like that one.
You mean to edify the senior partners up here?
Yeah, that's what you're saying, right? To meet with us, right? Is
yeah,
that what you meant?
so during the
Well, to validate.
conversation.
To validate?
To validate.
Oh, to validate? Sorry.
Yeah, so like Sean did this, Derek did this, Brent did this. Like
Gotcha.
that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so
Yeah,
during the
like,
meeting, I thought you were
yeah,
meaning to set the meeting.
I'm
Sorry.
gonna introduce
Little
you to
accolades for
Sean
yourself,
Work, and the
yeah.
reason, Sean has been in busy, he was
Right.
at Keller Williams, he managed 9
Yeah.
offices, and now, he realized the right thing to do was come to EXP because of blah, blah, blah. Like, his background, or your experience or background, what makes.
Yeah, we can put that together. If you ever lose it, if you just go on either of our websites, go to our
Yep.
bio. It'll be right there too. But I'll make one just in case you
Just
lose it or
put some
something.
bullets.
No, but you get what I'm saying. If you lose it or something, you think it'll be right in the bio too because we tell our story. So
Yeah.
it'll be good. But yeah, we'll give you some too.
Brochures, I know who's got that.
Yeah.
Well, it's
And I'll get
interesting.
you mine, though.
She's doing coaching, and her whole thing is both in real estate sales and in agent attraction is tell your story.
No.
Here's the story. Here's why I'm helping. Here's
Narratives
why.
are everything.
Here's why I'm in real estate. It's not to be a slimy real estate agent and collect the largest commissions of any sales job. It's because we love helping people. It's because people are moving forward. Because we become wealth advisors for our clients. Because we're creating clients for life.
Think of
Because
it as
we
your
don't-
elevator pitch, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're in an elevator with someone that you want to get into business with, what's your 45-second or minute and 15-second, whatever figure out what your elevator pitch is for you, and that's the same thing that we'll give you for us.
I'll
on
do it
our
for
side, right?
1.5%.
Yeah, yeah, right. No, the thought process though is and that I'd write that down, create your elevator pitch, right? Like people ask you how the market is, probably more likely than anything. Well, that depends, right? Are you buying, selling, investing? What are you doing? Right? I can't just tell you it's great. If I just tell you great, it's what everyone else says. But if you ask them, well, why do you ask? Are you for investments, for buying, for selling? What are you looking to do? Right? Just asking that extra question.
Okay.
Any ahas on that system?
Yeah, the
It
whole
put a
thing to
light
me was
bulb.
a real
It put a
aha.
light bulb in my mind, going, "Wow, this is a great experience for them." Instead of it being about you, like, "Oh, let's," you get all these EXP agents out there. "Oh, let's go," call. No, it's about me, about me.
This sucks. This
No,
is
it's-
better.
No, right. It's about running them through experience, much like we're talking about doing for our listing and buying clients. Okay, 105. Anything else, Derek?
No,
On that-
then just goes back to what we talked about before. What's next, right? That's the end.
What's next?
It's always
Magic
what's next
move.
with your clients, with your recruits, with your whatever it is. What's next?
Right. So we're going to talk about video for a bit, about 5 or 10 minutes. But you have 3 options for your video. There's a lot of information here. you have basically. Has anybody met with a videographer lately to do some of their own, knock out some of their own goals for video for next year?
No.
Anybody using Bonbon or texting videos instead of text messages, like leads? Like, hey, or maybe you do your weekly update, or maybe it's a client of yours and you go, hey, I can't wait to meet you, tomorrow at 2 p.m. for our listing appointment, whatever. Do it.
Some of we're doing, which probably some of us have kids of this age too, but we're going to Thanksgiving, we're going to hang out with some family, but there's 2 younger daughters and in the family, right? But they're all like, shut up, Sean. They're on like TikTok and all that stuff, right? They're on TikTok. They know how to use it better than we do. We're like, why don't we have them help us with our videos?
Yeah.
Why don't we have them do
Like,
videos
how
for
cute
us?
would it be for
Like,
little kids, like talk about like, the realtor that you're using and it's like a cute little TikTok. I mean,
Yeah,
oh,
I mean,
I
think about
literally
that
got
stuff.
A client off a stupid Snapchat video where I was singing into the fan.
So,
That is
it's
so
just
dumb
a
as
thought
crap.
process, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
the kids are pretty good at it now, so why don't you have them coach you on it? That's an easy way. Then, like you said, you can
TikTok.
Yeah, right. Well, or not even like anything. You get what I'm saying? Though they already know how to use everything, anyways. You probably have someone in your home that can help you, and then step it up from that.
TikTok, are there other, is this an app you guys, sorry, I don't
Oh,
know how to do this.
it's-
Either apps, their social media, their cute little videos. People
How do
their,
you
our
text
attention
that to
spans are like
someone?
5 seconds, so don't even go beyond that. We watch cat videos. You just want
It
to watch
reminds
cute
me of
stuff
Gilmore.
with a good story.
Eating there.
Well, think about it this way. So everybody, all the social media platforms, even LinkedIn now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the TikTok.
Right, we did
Yeah.
the TikTok thing,
Yeah.
which is like super cheesy, but guess what it did?
Yeah. Well, stories though.
I thought-
It's just
I was
basically a
like,
story.
wow, that's cheesy, but that's so funny.
They like the quick little stories, right? So if you look at all the platforms though, they keep editing and changing, but now everybody has stories. It's all this. LinkedIn has stories now. I just went on to LinkedIn.
LinkedIn does?
Yeah, I just went on to it yesterday because someone messaged me. Yeah.
Julie, hey, it's Sean. I can't wait to see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Boom. It's as quick as a text.
Quick little
right?
video.
So you have 3 different options. You have something very granular like that, just a quick video. Then you have something that you've recorded maybe on your phone and you go back and edit it. And then the third is you have some professional videos that are done by an outside photographer or producer or whatever. My suggestion is you leverage all 3 of those in 2021 and get as much content out there on your YouTube channels and on your social media channels as possible. You have to. Do you think it's a mystery why we bought a Success Magazine, a media company? Because we can tell our own story through video. So those leads that are coming in that you have no relationship with, your competitors are not texting them videos of themselves going, hey, I can't wait to connect with you on the phone. This is Shannon, this is Sean. When can we meet? So between that, you're probably not doing enough Facebook Lives either.
Yeah, all the algorithms want you to be live, not just posting the
Your
stories.
Facebook Lives are your evidence of success. So if you're in the office doing a market update, hey, I'm doing my market updates today. Call me if you want to know what's happening in your neighborhood. I'm going to post some statistics below it, right? Just something very, very quickly. But whether it's texting people, whether it's going live on social media, or through KV Core, you can record your video and plug it right into an email to be sent out to your database, right?
I saw that new thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then like
Or you could do the production of, or you could bring somebody in. I brought a guy in, and it didn't come to fruition last year because we weren't really focused on it. But the thought process was have a videographer for a day follow you around some different neighborhoods. You could do like, hey, what's behind the gates at Wexford? What's behind the gates at Los Lagos? What's going on in this neighborhood? Or you could do the life of a listing where you ask if Derek is my listing client. Thank you. I'm getting old.
here to
dude.
support you.
Come on, I can't. Yeah, need a warm beer apparently. But if you're my listing client, I go, hey, dude, I know we don't know each other, but we're documenting this experience. Would you agree to be part of an experiment, the life of a listing? Then we show the meeting and show the listing going up and the work that's done with it, and you create like a 5-minute video, and maybe you do one of those a month, right? But that's the content that people are watching. You guys got to understand, right? What's the most popular type of shows on cable network?
Reality.
Reality real estate. Flip this house, $1 million listing, all of the other ones on HDTV, House Hunters and whatnot. So people love this stuff because why? They connect to it.
Yeah. And Shannon, you were talking about leveling up, right? So maybe start with someone you know, right? That's a family friend or a kid, I don't know, right? If they're good at it, right? Then you go, the next step would be, instead of paying a lot of money for a videographer, you could go, hey, there's got to be someone in your network. So number one, you're growing your business, and it's another reason to reach back out to your network and your database. Hey, who do you know, like, it's maybe in college, that's working on their degree, right, for marketing, digital marketing, right? Well, hey, I'm looking to hire somebody to be an intern for the summer, right? And then they get to put that in their portfolio, what they've done for when they go to interview for jobs. Half of them aren't going to charge anything. I mean, I'd still pay them and take care of them, but you know what I'm saying? Some of them aren't even need to be paid, right? And then it goes, okay, cool, now I have this. Well, maybe that person turns into your videographer and you start paying them a salary because your business went up. Or maybe it turns into something else and you level up again and hire someone, right? There's so many ways. Just think outside the box.
Kyle Whistle does his own TV show, which is called West Side Eats. He's a real estate agent and just goes around to different restaurants in Southern California, interviews the manager, and hey, yeah, I'm the local real estate agent. This is kind of my farm. He does that in his farm. And so when you think about the opportunities that are out there for you, hey, I want to take over Granite Bay, that's really how aggressive you all need to be in your mindset. Like, how do I sell every fucking house in Granite Bay this year? I'm going to be that person. And then you go out and you farm it. And then you go and meet everybody and you join the club and then you go to the local businesses and you advertise. And that's truly a farm, right? But then what he's done beyond that is really gone out and supported that that video element, going out on social media and Facebook and blasting out via email, like we have those electronic video email, those electronic names, and use that as a farm and send those out. So that's what you got to be thinking of to gain market share. Okay, I know I'm pretty excited about it, but this is part of that. It's no longer sending, you know, when we first got into the industry, we're sending freaking cooking recipes on a postcard. That's over.
was
You
a
know,
long time
even
ago. Some of us
postcards
weren't
are
born yet
right,
for that.
even postcards
Yeah,
are
thanks, they're
even
different.
postcards are over. Like, you know, just listing just sold postcards. That's
Babyface.
part of that 14% of business that everybody else is vying for. So we've got to go out there and you've got to be your own star to your database and to your sphere of influence. Okay. This gives you some systems to follow. Weekly update videos, one time a week to your sphere. Monthly updated video for your client. Campaign videos. So for those of you who have first-time home buyers, for those of you who have expired listings, or you're working off expired listings or FSBOs or whatever it might be, create some specific canned videos for that you can share with everybody via phone. Then you've got your social media stuff. Every time you take a listing, represent the buyer, tell the story of what happened. Instead of saying just sold, we just sold. What does that mean? What happened? Why? How did it sell? What were the pitfalls that you went through? What were the significance of the sale to the buyer or the seller? How are you moving them on in life? Sales is a story, so we got to tell the story each time. You can do that through video very easily versus words by recording them. You sell a house, Julie's there with the, oh, hey, video me. Like, hey, we're here. We're just going to put the keys in for the first time. Or we're taking the for sale sign down. Get creative with it. But tell the story, guys. Okay, and then most of you should have a YouTube channel that you're uploading everything to, hopefully. If not, there's room for opportunity there. You're obviously uploading to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Here's somebody else's, page 106. Listing promotions, reviews, newsworthy topics.
Can I say something real quick too?
Please.
What we found just in general with the videos, like, yeah, people are going to watch all these, right? But the ones where you're being yourself is when everyone watches them. Like, tested one, she was at a home inspection. She has her fingers like running around like in the water, and it's like on the roof and stuff, just like something super cute and silly, right? And it had so much engagement because it was like something funny and it was like 30 seconds long. These are great too as well, but those little things on when you're going live or posting your story, those are where people you're gonna get people's attention, right? Because people when they're going through the stories, you're literally just clicking through.
Yep.
And you'll stop. You're like, what is that, right? There's something that's going to catch
And
you.
we
You
do
must-
see a lot of the EXP stats, and we're bored with it.
Right, yeah, so there's so much to that. So like make yourself stand out in that sense, right? And just do quick little things. But the idea is you want to stop people from scrolling, right? If they're on their timeline or they're going through your stories and clicking through, stop the click or stop the scroll, right? So you get their attention. That's all you need. That's the whole point of it, right? These are going to be great too for the education side, but if you're just, those are the ones you're going to get, then they're going to comment on it, and now they're going to see more of your videos and more of your posts, right? That's the whole point, is getting the engagement. Make sense?
Yep. So page 108. So why? Why do we want to do the video? Piggybacking off what Derek just said. Brand awareness, get your listings exposed more, establish yourself as the expert, get more engagement, improve your SEO, and grow your business. And this actually gives you your equipment checklist here, what you need. Tripod, microphone, backdrop camera, lighting kit. Brent's new office will actually have a video room. I saw it the other day. It's badass place. I'm glad he got it accepted.
Yeah, that's cool.
good
That's
for all
cool.
of
Good
us.
news.
Then it gives you some content ideas here, a 30-day action plan to implement, ordering the equipment, write out your topics, script it, how to shoot, and then what do you do after? Upload them to your YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and database. Okay? And then there's just some more resources there. That's really it. That was the 5 or 10 minutes per video. Just I can't implore you enough. Think about your real estate business now as a media business. That's where we're going.
You just said something, and I'm like, it's such a great idea, and I lost it. Shoot.
Stories, personal, cute videos. Yes, listing promotion.
Shimmy, shimmy,
Darn it.
Samsonite. I was way off.
So this is page 114. This was about solidifying the offer. We're at this point now where we may potentially see, depending upon what happens to inventory, the need to really micromanage the transaction to help things fall out less. For our listings, we've been noticing a little bit higher ratio of fallout than before, whether that's from people shopping or getting buyer's remorse or the question about what's happening with the economy. So this is a nice worksheet here of about 26 questions that you should feel comfortable with. Remember when we were talking about validation, 97% won't. You should feel comfortable asking these questions to your lender about the person that they're trying to finance.
And then part 2 is you should have your lenders give this information to the listing agent when you
Agreed.
represent the buyer. Correct? Have them reach out.
Yep.
I mean, that's key, right? Because they know there's then the listing agent. Like if someone reaches out to you and talks about their client and they're not even in contract yet, how does that make you feel about comfortability with working with that person? That person took the time to, do the next step instead of us calling them, right? So you would think that would put a good impression, and you would think that the communication would be better, correct?
Correct. And look at the questions that are in here. Are you local? Can I get a hold of you? Am I going to be talking to your team? If so, can I get their contact information up front? How long have you been in business? Where's your direct supervisor? What are the timelines from the contract? Are those doable?
I think the final one I would add is: is there anything is there anything that you're worried about at all that could possibly be a problem that we can get ahead of right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They're going to say no most likely, but they might say something. If you don't ask, the answer is always just no, right?
Exactly. These are great. Number 14.
That
Have you
might be in
actually
your.
met
I
the
think
client?
those next slide.
Yeah.
You know,
what it says, right?
What's their credit scores? Are they getting gift funds? Where's the money coming from? What are their liabilities? Have you verified their funds? Are they coming from stocks? This will prepare you so much more than just I got a pre-approval. Okay? So something to implement for you in 2021.
The thought process we're trying to give you these tools, the reason why is because the more units you do, right, the busier you're going to get. So let's expedite the process. Anything you're going to do more than once, and you're going to make a system for it.
Yep.
Take these, and maybe there's someone you don't want to ask and somebody you want to add into, right? Make them your own. It's R&D, right? Rip off and duplicate.
Rip off and duplicate. There's some more tips and tricks from this same real estate agent, but I would suggest every offer that you send in, you got to have a video from your client. If you don't have a video from your client to the listing agent, especially right now, telling them the story about why they want to buy this house in Granite Bay.
Oh, no, it's a video?
Oh, it's a video.
So
I haven't seen a
there's a
video.
new thing out too, so some
There's a
people
video.
aren't accepting them,
Have you seen a
right?
video?
Because of the new form that's in there in the purchase agreement. So what I've been doing is I've been asking for permission to do that with the listing agent. Because some of them have said no, and then you don't waste your client's time. And they're like, oh, bummed. They're all bummed they spent time to do it. So I've been asking ahead of time hey, is it all right if we do this? Are you okay with the letter? Because it says we can't do that kind of stuff anymore because they were saying discrimination. So that's the disclaimer. Disclaimer.
I still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
He's right. You're not supposed to do it because of discrimination at the broker level, but there's got to be something that separates your client from everybody else. Every time, out of all the offers I've submitted with a video, I've only ever lost once. Because people make decisions based on emotion. They see your client, they go, "Oh man, I got a feeling from that video," and then at least you get a counter offer.
Yeah, we had a client that's really good in, I think it was Adobe or something. I don't know exactly what it was, but he built a whole like website page with it all.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was pretty neat. But the cool thing, the great thing was it was awesome. But then that was one of the people. That's when I learned to say ask if they're going to use it because she wouldn't show it to them.
Oh.
Just like, all right, cool. But yeah, so it's way different. It's way better in the picture, and you know the sellers' names because you go tax records, right? Oh yeah, way better. And better in the photo, heck yeah. And people don't want to read anything anymore. Everyone
Yeah.
wants to watch it, right?
Right.
That's why there's YouTube. That's why everything has video now.
And
Depends on the
you
age.
could upload that
For the most part,
YouTube
yes.
that video to YouTube and put the link
That's what we do.
in your
yeah.
letter, right?
I just share it. Well, I share it through Google Drive. I just make a Google Drive link, so link to the video, and I put it in there, and I still describe them and all that if they allow me to do that.
Yep.
I'm not the broker, so
I mean, I know that
All the people out there in the world.
You can't do that, but how can they tell you that your one client can't reach out to another client? You know, like that.
well, I think if it keeps getting worse and worse like that, we'll just great. Well, is it all right if we present our offer to your client?
Presented in person.
Right? I mean, we're allowed to do that. So
Yeah.
how does that not sway them? You know,
How is
it's
that not
kind of like
discriminatory? Yeah, it's
little
bull.
Again, we're not the
people
broker. Disclaimer.
like,
The camera.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're
That's why
here.
we're here. Okay, so page 120. 120 through 138. 120 through 138 is objection handling. So feel free to go through there. There's price, commission, timing, urgency. There's some really good scripts in there, and also talks about the needs analysis. So make sure you refer back to those. We're going to jump ahead. We're going to come back and talk about teams in a moment, but jump ahead to page 189. And this is called the language of appreciation. I don't know if anybody's done this exercise before. Pretty cool. What it does is it shares with you how you like to be communicated with, what actions are that you feel most comfortable and natural around, and what ones want to avoid with you. So go ahead and start filling this out. Language of appreciation.
It's going to become love languages? Is that what I'm seeing?
It's a little different. This is more business and communication. Love language is more relationship and love.
Then,
Be honest. There's no pass or fail. It's all pass.
it's funny. I got a 1 for receiving gifts. And now I got a 3, and I was like,
crazy.
what? I like gifts.
I do, but I don't think that's really what's important.
It's not important.
At the end of the day, that's
Right.
nice. That's a
Like, that's really
that's
nice,
not a,
but,
it's a monetary thing, you know. It's like
but are we like going to dinner?
words of affirmation, quality time.
Yeah.
But you
uh-huh.
can see though how this is
Access.
important if you have a team,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
your organization, like that. There was another course I took, and it was said it's the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Was the book? So it's the 5 functions of a team. They have you take assessments, and you take them ahead of time. And it's funny because some people you think would want something that you just thought, right, just based on who they are. But then it's like really what they come down to don't know their core, and you're rewarding the wrong way or talking and communicating with them the wrong way. And so
Right,
the
yeah.
whole idea is to make your team function at a higher level.
You treat everybody like
Need a
as if
lot
they
of
were
words
you
of
instead of
affirmation.
who
I
they
didn't
are.
realize that.
You need a lot
I
of
think
words of
that's hand in hand
affirmation.
with those discs.
Yeah.
You guys do.
Me too. I'm an
No, I
affirmation.
mean,
I
of
guess
course.
I didn't buy a lot.
Funny as I get
Just
two
because
of
of
those.
the-
I don't think
It
they're
looks
really
nice to
active.
me.
There's other
Yeah.
assessments though that are much
I do like
much
your
deeper dive,
shows.
Yeah.
and
You
they're
know,
much
I've
taken
noticed
up.
his shoes
They're like
several
I
times.
really like
90%.
that. I don't know if they're
Like,
new,
it's
but
crazy when
I
you
like,
verify it.
really like
That's my
Dominus.
kicks.
I mean, the disc is I could take the disc and if I want to be high,
Oh,
I just
shucks.
see depending on
Apparently,
the
you
you
do.
can change
Apparently, we
it, so
all
that's why it's
need
fun.
Those
these
cute.
words of affirmation.
I mean, that's also the other thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna if I'm applying for a leadership position, I'm gonna be a DI for sure intentionally.
And that's why, like, when
But I am,
met
anyways.
with a couple
What,
people in
DI?
PW,
So you
and
said my name?
you know, there, and I'm like,
Die?
that's all it was read off of.
Die?
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh yeah, we can't work together.
So,
There's no way.
as we're finishing this up, when you guys were talking about your organization before, not your EXP organization, but your actual sales organization, how many of you guys had a hire on there? Meaning you're thinking about hiring somebody, whether it's a sales person or an assistant or TC, okay? Who?
And you're hiring, actually, I've got 2 thoughts. So
Okay.
I think I want to hire a recruiter.
Okay?
And I also want to hire, I
I used to have somebody that I just called an office admin that to take care of KB Core basically and to follow up on a lot of those, so to push the button things.
So when you say you're hiring a recruiter, you're hiring someone to make the calls for you, or making someone to have the appointments for you?
Make calls. You're doing the appointments.
Thanks.
Yeah, right?
Okay, so then I'm not going to cover in depth the hiring of a buyer's agent because I don't think it's the right crew.
Yeah, I feel like
And-
everyone here would be
and-
an admin would be the first hire.
Yeah, and an assistant. So, but what I am going to do is cover your job description for 2020. Okay, you guys are all hiring
2021?
yourself back 2021.
I'm all.
You guys are going to hire yourself back in 2021. Go to page 138.
138.
1/3?
138. 138. Okay? So, real estate agent or team leader. Our top 3 duties. Generate 40, 50, 100 leads per month. A lead being somebody who's raised their hand and said, hey, I want to buy or sell in the next 6 months. Not a contact that's coming through that's just a name and a phone number. A Zillow contact is not a lead, right? So this is somebody who, they're shit hot. They're going to buy it in the next 6 months. 40, 50, 100, 200 leads a month. We're leading and managing the team. Even if you're yourself, you're probably still going to have a TC, and you're probably going to have somebody doing marketing coordination or a virtual assistant, something like that. Leverage those tools that we talked about earlier, Michael Lewis Marketing Suite, and get yourself a TC. Those will be the people that you lead, that you can also then share these lists that we've just gone over regards to a listing and how that process works, right? Okay, and then number 3, count the money. Really what that means is keep your money accountable. Derek mentioned it earlier. Every dollar we spend, we got to make sure that we're keeping it accountable. So that means that you're tracking your pay log, and that means that you're doing a P&L, and then that money is carrying over to your personal budget. We're not commingling the two, business and personal. We've got to be separate. So within that, number 1, what this means is that we have a top 50 list of VIPs and past clients. If you wanted your business plan, it's right here. Check the boxes off. Get your top 20, 25, top 50 in order. Get a birthday program for those people in order. Have a happy hour once a month. Even if you have to push it down to 5 people who attend, that's fine. Just get in front of those 5 people and have a break bread. That's the break bread, the mixer, the cocktails, the fun. Have a lunch. You can do this at lunch too. Invite 5 people, 5 of your closest friends to lunch. Boom. That could also be considered a mixer. In larger terms, we would want 30 to 50 people there from your.
And you could even go even below that for your business-to-business people. So on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have a lunch with one of my allied. So I have 12 people, right? And just typically at least 4 weeks in a month, right? So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have lunch together and separate. Each a different person. So I have 12 people I do that with, and so we go over our goals. And then the understanding is we each refer somebody each month. And then if it goes a month without, you're on probation, it happens again, then you can fire each other. And we fired a few people this year.
Cool.
But then there's 12 deals a month that you should be getting referred, or leads a month, right? And then how many you can convert from that. But it's super easy. You're gonna eat lunch anyways. Why not eat it with somebody, and then have them hold you accountable, which we'll get to the accountability piece later in the
What
next.
is LOTH?
Letter of the heart. So this would be a 400-person database of people that you know, that you've met, that are past clients, that are sphere of influence, that are family members, that are alumni, that are past coworkers, whoever they are. 400-person database that at minimum you're sending something out every other month. Letter of the heart. Here's what's happening in our family. Here's how COVID has affected our family. Here's what's happening at work. It's been the craziest real estate market since COVID. Whatever. Letter of the heart. Here's what's happening to the kids. Kids gone back to school.
Honestly, I would switch that even from a letter of the heart to VOTH, video of the heart, right? That's an opportunity to use video.
Yep. Perfect. Love it. I'm going to write that in there. Video of the heart.
Gosh, you're so smart.
Thank you. I know.
That's
Evidence of success. Evidence of success, which if you wanted to do the evidence of success, what were your sales activities for the month of October? Put that in a marketing piece. Spend $25 and have Kim down at MLS Marketing design something sexy and send it out, right? Here are the houses that we sold out. Here are the families that we transacted with. Here are the new friends. Angie and I met Angie from a referral from the Bay Area, and we struck gold together with our relationship. And
Oh my God.
boom, 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 boom. What? Tell the story. we're calling them on the Thursdays, and then we have a client party once a year. We have an internet presence. We're working some kind of outside account that's larger than just the single buyer or seller, which would mean builder, channel account. It could also include expireds, FISBOs. We're working some system, making 30 prospect calls per day, minimum of 60 talk tos per week. We're calling our VIPs on Monday. We're calling listings and buyers on Tuesday, update call, hot leads on Wednesday, past clients and database on Thursday, new business people, builders, or cold call on Fridays. And we're sending and posting videos of a minimum exposure of 1,000 per week. And so, go ahead, Derek. You got something?
I was just gonna say, I just was thinking because we were back on video. I mean, it's kind of in my head right now. Tess and I, it's one of our big focuses for 2021 is to do some awesome video stuff. But a lot of people are scared to get on camera. But newsflash, you look like that all the time, right? What'd you say?
Our reveal.
Oh yeah, like our reveal. Like it's our reveal of us coming over here, right? Just be funny, be
We made
yourself.
our announcement,
That's cute.
and yeah, it was like basically the back of my head asking Derek questions, and we, basically threw his resume out there. But we made it funny because at the end we show that my voice is Chantal.
Oh gosh.
And so we're like, so I guess you gotta join us, whatever. And it's just like, and we made it funny. And like people were just like blowing up our feed. But we're just telling them like about this news. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, for someone to leave Keller Williams, like this is a big,
It's a big deal.
Like, that
Yeah.
was part of our attraction. That wasn't really for selling homes.
Yeah, but I mean, my thought process too with that is like, you look like that. Look in the mirror. That's what you're gonna look like on video. Who cares, right? Like, get over. That's who you are. Just get on there and do it.
That's why I like Facebook
And then-
Live, because you can't,
Well, yeah,
just
right?
do it
And then
and
here's the
go
other thing.
back and
It's too
beat
late.
yourself
Yeah.
up.
When, if I'm talking to you, right, and I make a mistake in what I say, and I say, sorry, this, like, it feels more authentic because it doesn't feel like I'm scripted, right? A lot of the videos people are doing, they feel super scripted. The lives, you can't be scripted. Well, you can be, but you can have an idea, right? You mess up, you're not editing because you're live.
Yeah.
That's the great thing. So,
Have to do it.
so yeah, there's things you can do. But the other thing that we even looked at is like, they have the ones where you like kick the shoe and you change it from your like pajamas into your like business
Right,
dress
that's
or whatever, right? Like TikTok, right? Those
It's
things.
the ones you jump out.
Yeah, you jump out. So we
yeah.
just did one where we jumped up and it switched from KW to EXP. That was like our little story one. It just flipped. It's like just little. So watch what people are doing on those channels, and you can use them for your own, and you just tweak it, right? Come up. I mean, it took like 2 seconds. So there's a lot of things you can
And
do.
we actually utilized Brent's videographer
Yeah.
to do that.
So there's things you can do, right? Just what I would just say is, I know it sounds bad, but be a student, like you were saying, be a student of life, be a student of social media platforms, and watch what other people. If someone does a great job at being on any of those platforms you want to be in, we'll follow them and favorite them, so you see all their videos. There's people that I duplicate stuff off of all the time. So
R&D, baby.
yeah.
At any rate, what I was saying here regarding all these, working with builders and making the calls and getting the databases set up is, you guys have heard me say this before, right? You're running these two different companies. These are all touches that are going out. The touches, the calls, the social media. If you have touches, unless you have touches going out, you're not getting contacts. If you don't have contacts, you're not getting leads. If we don't have leads, we're not getting appointments. No appointments, we're not, right in here is nurture. And then appointments lead to contracts. This skill set is completely different than this skill set once you're in the real estate world. So you have to be growing, not only as a marketing, media, prospecting, business generator, influencer. We have to, because if we're not growing here, there's no way we can have a great real estate business. This is like the difference between having, if we looked at it like a restaurant. This is your goal. The goal is for the restaurant to make money, right? But if we don't have any clients, and who cares what's on the menu?
This is the Sacramento Kings right now, and this is, or was the Warriors, right? Like, think about it that way, not to make a joke, but I'm a Kings fan, I can make that joke. Like, if you don't have all this, the championship doesn't happen, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep. So we really got to get back into, I don't care what you're selling. If you said today, I'm going to go sell coffee machines, guess what? This is where you would start. I'm going to sell cars. This is where you'd start. You're just selling real estate. Everybody gets so focused on the brochures and the branding and, oh my God, I don't know the contract and how do I get the sign put up and all that. None of that is making any money. This is like you're the most skilled master chef, Michelin trained master chef. but you ain't got nobody in your restaurant. So we got to focus first right now when we're building our accounts pyramid on this. And then we can have a full restaurant and cook some awesome kick-ass meals, right? Okay. 2, lead and manage the team. So if you're hiring a Realtor Partner 1 or Realtor Partner 2, your daily team meetings, but here's what, all of this is accountability. You guys want to be great as a real estate agent and rock it out and do 25 or 30 deals, get yourself an outside accountability, which is hiring an assistant. That will keep you accountable. Set times, office times. You got to have meetings. Somebody that you're responsible for financially, that will make you accountable. Okay? And then we work on number 3, counting the money, which is your tight P&L. Derek mentioned it earlier, play red light, green light with your money. If you're not making money off the outbound marketing that you're spending on Zillow or whatever it may be, reel it in, figure something else out where you're going to expend that money.
And anything you're going to start to spend money on, you need to budget 6 months minimum, because a lot of those things, they're not going to get going. Not going to start seeing money come from for 3 to 6 months, 3 to 6 months, sometimes even longer.
Yep.
So I'd say minimum, if you're going to implement something new in your business, you set aside and have saved from your revenue, right? Because you're leading with revenue. You're going to set aside 6 months of the coverage for that piece.
Okay, go to page 141, just so you guys get a visual of what this looks like. At the bottom, this would be probably where's next for many of you, which is the 3-person real estate team. Basically, team leader, that's you. RP1 is going to be your listing manager, database manager, contact to close, and they're going to work your calendar.
I'm on the wrong page.
141,
141.
down at the bottom.
Got it.
Okay? So,
I just can't read it, that's all.
and then RP2 is actually going to be more like a buyer's agent, right? They're going to be there in support of you. What you can use for those of you who don't want to, I think this is the cool part about the EXP model. For those of you who may have experience or influence over other agents, you can bring them into the organization and then just kind of feed them some business. Instead of having them be quote unquote on your team.
It also helps them become a qualifier in your front line.
Right. So your RP1s can be a Chrissy, or they can be a virtual assistant, or they can be a transaction coordinator. They're just there to help you. Realtor Partner 1, okay? So as you guys are thinking about growing your organization, then these are some systems or models that you can follow.
And that RP2 can be like, I would say, especially in our market, when you're getting super, like if you're buyer heavy, really buyer heavy, that would be probably a showing specialist first, right? Yeah. And where do you find a great showing specialist? Well, go to a luxury like apartment complex or a luxury building, like maybe downtown Sac. Someone shows you property there, right?
Yeah.
What do you think they're making a year?
Nothing.
Not that much. Well, what do you want that they want to do? So you're going to go through and you're going to go to like 10 different places, and you're going to act like you're going to go rent from them. And you're going to pick the top 5, and you're going to call them and ask them if they'd be interested in doubling their income or whatever, based on what their income is, right? Because that's what they do all day. They show property, right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
That might be a little upset with you for not renting from, but you might find someone there. That's where a lot of talent has come from for that piece. They already do it anyways, but they're going to make a fat commission instead.
And
Okay.
they're already licensed agents.
Well, they would need to get them licensed. Sometimes they are, but most of the time they're not.
That's what I did for told me.
Yeah, most of them aren't. Yeah, most of them are definitely not going to be. But I mean, you can get
If
someone.
you are a portfolio manager, then yeah, you are. But if you're a leasing agent, just property manager, not licensed.
So, that's all right. So we can.
And then for the RP1, if it's an admin, what I would do is someone maybe not in our industry, but I would find someone that has a really good executive admin, or you hear that has the best admin, and I would go interview them and set up a job profile and a pay structure based on what they want.
Just a lot of similarities.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I mean, whether you're going to build the perfect one, like, oh, I love my boss paid for me to go on vacation. Is that once a year or twice a year? I'd ask, right? And they said twice a year. Okay, and how long is that? Great. Well, who do you? And then the final question is, hey, well, who do you think, or do you know anybody that's like you that might want to be my admin? They're probably going to want to be your admin because you set up the perfect job profile for them.
Right.
Thought process. So, Chrissy, can we go to lunch? Just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh,
Just kidding.
Dang, right in front of him.
Yeah, no, She knows I'm kidding.
I'll kill you.
Yeah. I'll kill you. But no, those are just like thought process for those cases where you can find them, right?
Actually, you should be writing a little bit.
All right, 198.
198.
Okay. So you see here, I'm going to focus on the power hours. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, full-time agent here. And we've got built in our pop buys, our business lunches, our power hours, our team meetings, personal time, checking voicemails, dealing with issues and problems, setting appointments, or conducting late appointments. We've got built in here 6 to 7 p.m. on Wednesday is late night. Friday, be home no later than 5 p.m. We look down at the bottom, there's actually kind of tools and resources here. So we're having impactful lunches, impactful 15-minute meetings. We're doing actual office presentations with our potential clients. We're teaching seminars. We're doing in-person meetings. We're maintaining listings, a listing inventory. Targets, we talked about them already. Builders, past clients, banks, or credit unions. My suggestion is, if you guys all have a farm right now, can we start there?
Have it visible.
Can we start there? By next week, have a farm. Who are you targeting in 2021? Number one. Number two, go and meet with all the business professionals in that farm area. Go to all the financial institutions in that area. We used to do a thing called Operation Donut Drop. Ever tell you about this?
None of them
So-
I want to know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You're ornery today. Must be taking testosterone or something.
Up to something.
So what we did was, in our farm, we identified the 20 banks that were there. Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo.
Oh, yeah.
And once a month, we would do Operation Donut Drop, which would be on the third Friday of every month. We'd go and we'd buy 20 boxes of donuts, put our label on it. They were white boxes. Pick them up. They actually put the donuts in the boxes, and then we would go and drop them off. We would meet their lender at the financial institution, and the bank manager, and their business bank manager, or the business bank specialist, and all the tellers. We got really good after 2 years of doing this. Before I moved to San Carlos. All those people would give us business all the time, and they were in our farm. So when
That's awesome.
banks, yeah, because why? Old people go to their banks first. That's the first line of defense. They've got relationships with the tellers in there and with the managers and everything. And so once you develop that relationship with them, then those people are referring it out. And you have to also, you know, when you're sitting down with these referral partners, you have to tell them how they need to introduce you. Like, you know, Julie, hey man, this is my farm. This is my network. I love doing business in Tree Lake Village. I don't know, I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
I love doing business in Tree Lake Village. You know, I know the houses, I know the models. Anybody that you have, man, I would really appreciate you referring. At least get my foot in the door. Can you do that for me? And how can I help you? Like local people, I know a bunch of people that are at Chase. Let me send them over to you, Bank of America. I know a bunch of people at Bank of America. Let me send them over to Chase. That's the sales game in it. And maybe you don't send them anybody. They're not making any less money. But you talk to the lender and they go, yeah, man, if I get 2 more deals a month, I'll get on a different tier. Okay, how can we get you a couple more deals a month? Okay?
I like the project. What's it called again?
Operation Donut Drop.
Operation.
But it has
Donut
to be
Drop.
in coordination with a larger portion of farm. So can you imagine, when I say take over that territory, that's truly what I'm talking about. Like, you're pissed off when somebody else gets a listing in that area because you're that expert. Market updates, Operation Donut Drop, electronic farms, posting on Facebook, doing open houses in that area for houses that might not even be listed by EXP. They don't know your signs are up there. You got 20 signs, right?
40.
Okay, 40. Anyway, take that area over through the relationships. Then you're doing the videos of, hey, I'm going to Cabo's, which should be shut down. It's a drug mule spot in Granite Bay. Just kidding. Andre
Good
told
Taco
me.
Tuesdays there, I'm just saying.
She
It
gives
is
me the
weird
wink.
to know when they're in or when you go in. Huh?
Yeah,
No, right?
but
You're like,
anyway, you're doing that. You're
weird.
going around. You're doing the videos there. You get it? That's
Yeah.
part of it. Okay.
And we're gonna calendar out your guys' years, but I would focus. Something we didn't touch too much on yet is the personal time. That you, like, when you're talking to your clients, when you're having your consultations, you just tell them, hey, when I'm with you, and I'm in an appointment, I don't answer the phone, but as soon as I'm done with my appointment, I'll give you a call back, right? So they know, right? So I tell everybody, Tess and I, we do our Tuesday night date night on Tuesday. So Tuesday's a real tough evening for me, or night, to do any kind of showings or any kind of business like that. You just expect a slower turnaround time on that, right? So you set the expectation over. If I don't tell them that, I just don't answer the phone on Tuesday, that'd be a problem, right? So that's an appointment though, right? And then you could have family night, whatever, or your gym, ride the Peloton, whatever. You should have that all on your calendar. And the reason why you want to do different colors is that way you know where you're spending your time. If you're only spending your time doing follow-up stuff, you're probably not going to have any leads to close in a few months, right? And if you're only are working and have no family time in you, you're probably not going to have your family around much longer, right? So there's things and we'll go through that, but we're going to color coordinate all that stuff for you guys and help you guys do that. But the personal time, and that's what we're here for. We're not here just to make a bunch of money. We're here to give back and be with our families, right? So that's the thought process. If you don't have it already calendared out, calendar all that stuff in into your daily calendars as well.
Well, yes, and when I handed out the green highlighter, is on the next page, there's actually a blank one.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you just to highlight your prospecting and marketing time. Green equals dollars.
Yep.
So if you take your highlighter and say, hey, it's 1 hour a day, I don't care if it's half an hour a day. Prospecting is really a muscle.
And if you can, 2-3 hours a day would be awesome, but we all know what we're able to do, not to do. And then one thing I would do though is I would pick at least one day a week to do it in the evenings.
Well, I mean, if you're super busy, I've even coached people, do all your prospecting in one day. If it's Monday or Tuesday and you got to block out 4 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours because you know you're a train wreck for the rest of the week, then that's fine.
Or
Do
your
your-
kids weren't in school, or your
Yeah,
kids
or
were in
you're a
school.
train wreck.
And they're not
Going
in
out
school.
drinking at night on Saturday.
Kids play travel
It's like,
sports and
I'm
they're
sorry,
in
I'm
school.
booked Saturday.
I'm
You know
booked
what?
all day Saturday. I'm hungover in bed.
Speaking of
Spiggin.
It's hard to do.
What is that part? Oh boy.
Sorry, Rich.
Took her under the bus on that one. Bob, should we do the calendar piece now or?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this is just for this account, just for lead gen, just for prospecting.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, in
And we
my
have different
outlook,
colors.
like, I'll be completely transparent. We have all these pencils, and I'm working it about 40 to 60% of the time. But it's a vision that I have of this is what it's going to look like when it's done.
Did everyone get their lead gen stuff dialed in there?
All those things.
So we're gonna do the year calendar now, monthly. Let us know when you guys got your lead gen times blocked
Yeah,
out, and then we're
well-
gonna go on to the next stuff.
Yep, while you're doing that, 219 has time-saving ideas. Number one, everything I do is in my calendar. I live by my calendar. By living by my calendar, I gain 3 hours per day, 15 hours per week. I have a gardener, pool guy, and housekeeper so that I can save 12 hours a week. I don't check my emails. I have my admin check them all. High priority ones are on my desk twice per day, saving 7.5 hours a week. I limit my news, social media, and TV to 30 minutes per day. A detailed agenda every meeting so I can fully delegate what specific time frame. I make calls on my way to work and calls to work from my home. That should be a light bulb for you. And if you have your binder and your database is printed out and in your binder, and your lead tracker is in there, you can make those calls. I spend my first 10 minutes of every day planning my day and asking myself what are the top 3 things that I'll get done today. I work on my business every Friday from 7 to 10 a.m. and bang out projects that is spreading into a week. I get ready in 20 minutes in the morning. Ladies, that's probably pretty tough. I can do it in 5.
Me too, it's just naturally curls hair.
You're just
You woke
natural.
up like this?
Except for you ladies, because you're naturally beautiful.
Got to give me enough to say.
Words of affirmation.
Yes.
Words of
Thanks, Sean.
affirmation.
Thanks for understanding.
Same breakfast every day. Keep it simple.
That's true. Come on.
All right, Derek, you're
All
up.
right, so everyone go to the front of your book, all the way to the front. So we're going to go through an exercise now. We're actually going to calendar out our year for a lot of different things. The first thing we're going to start off with is your days off, and then your vacation time with your family. So you're going to calendar them out. Yes, that's what we're doing first. So everybody pick a color other than probably green. We're going to use
color
color
different?
for these days.
Remind us what color days are.
Yes, I'll do that. That's not yes. That's next. First is your personal stuff. Pink is personal,
Pink is personal.
or orange for some people.
I already know our vacation.
Make yourself a little key.
Yeah,
Andre's,
we-
Andre's gonna need a cycling color.
Just one at a time.
I got old color. I don't want to turn back around and have to get up.
I'm gonna come back. I just drew them all to you guys.
Thank you,
By the way,
sir.
you're right, that number 2,000 means freaking awesome.
So if you, so it's your personal. It's your days off. So what days every single week are you taking off? And then you got to have in your calendared out vacations. So it could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 4, however many vacations you want to go on, but we got to calendar them out. And that's not just in January. There's every single month. There's 12 of them in there. And notice we're doing personal time first. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to do that. Figure out what your time, when they're going to be. Where'd my binder go?
Well, I mean, here's some things as you're going through
Other
this.
stuff you can't really.
You're gonna have to work weekends.
I'm not gonna lie, this is hard to figure out
Well,
because
this will be a
So me
sample,
and
and
Tess,
we can
we always do
plan
something
on it.
around our anniversary, which is November, which is also a birthday, and we always do something separate with COVID and during my birthday time, which is in May. So we pick 2 weeks, 1 week out of each, and that's our schedule with where we plan on going on our trips.
And
So that's our two.
And then we do training,
Yeah, and we're gonna do training and education next. So this is.
which usually involves leaving town.
Yes. The most important piece here, though, is it's your personal time, and you guys need to take a day off. You're working at 70% capacity for 7 days a week is not as good as working at 90 to 100% for 6 days or 5 days, right? You're not gonna get as much done. You're gonna make a mistake. Stop
Yeah.
fighting it. Just do it.
Well, I mean,
You're doing a really good job.
Well, it doesn't have to be perfect.
When you
so
It's not gonna be perfect. This is it's an exercise, and then you're gonna go back to your family and say,
I
"Hey,
did what's
this is when
next.
I'd like to go.
Day.
This is when I would like to go on vacation. You guys, is this do
Right.
these times work for you?
So you do
validate
that
it.
first,
Yeah.
because everything else is just,
Every-
you're
And
gonna
then
fill
we'll go
that.
to the next step. It's just your time. It's gonna get better, I promise.
So, pick-
Everybody
pick
take a deep
fun
breath.
week.
when your kids play sports, it's just not realistic to have a day off.
It is. You just have to calendar it and tell them you're not
On
playing sports
Wednesday.
that day. That's our day off. That's my day off. Sorry.
You could have Wednesday off.
Yeah.
Don't forget to put your team meetings in there on Wednesdays.
I was gonna say, like,
That's education.
Those
We're not
aren't
there yet.
personal
Yeah,
calendars.
Has everyone got their vacation scheduled out
Yeah,
in
so
pink?
literally
Okay.
just do a
I do.
vacation first.
Vacation and then their days off.
And you don't book any appointments, you tell everybody, I'm sorry, I'm out of town that week, even if you don't know where you're going.
When is Cabo? The 20?
That's
We're
what you're,
not
that's
there
what you're
yet.
here for, man.
Can you guys just hold on 2 seconds?
That's a vacation.
We're,
That is not a
We're
vacation.
type A,
All right.
derail, root, derail, scattered.
So, everyone got their pink done.
Sure.
Everyone's pink done?
yeah.
Done.
We're gonna go to blue this time, I guess, for education.
Ah, that's how you like to say.
Black and blue.
All right.
Okay,
We
so
have blue.
this one's gonna be
It's whatever.
your events that you're gonna go to. So might need to pull out your phone for a couple of them. Like if there's a Tony Robbins event you wanna go to, right? Team meetings for education that you're gonna attend, so you intend to attend, right? So that's gonna be the next color you use, which I just said blue because I think everyone has a blue one, right? No?
So I would keep it for you.
Have any blue
We
ones?
can write
Yeah,
it.
we got some.
Okay, yeah.
Blue,
we
you
can
go.
share.
We can share.
I think Tony Robbins.
I got the dates.
So,
I think keep it green.
yeah,
All right.
different color will be for the.
So this, just pick a different color because we don't have enough blue ones.
Yeah, we won't be all of the same colors.
I was gonna, yeah.
Because we could write all of
Okay,
it.
here's some more.
So,
Who needs blue?
other than that, the thing on Prince got going.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna read them off. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna read off. Andre, you go.
Training events that you know.
Including our
So these
meetings
are weekly
on
meetings
Wednesdays,
too, Sean?
right?
Sure,
Sure.
yeah.
All right, so we got, I know one event, it's the Cabo event, it's the week of the 22nd through the 26th in February. That's the Cabo Mastermind. It's roughly the 22nd through the 26th. That includes like travel, I think it starts
Hi,
Tuesday.
Jasmine.
The
And
last
ends
full
Thursday.
week in
Yeah.
February is
Great bitch with a B.
no, look at her. And then look
Yeah,
at
no,
her.
put your mouth outside, John.
Now, on the other hand,
Edify her.
synchronize with the right hand.
There you go.
There you go. She's the woman.
So does everyone have their educational stuff done?
Yes.
It's hard for me to find some
Close
of
enough.
the dates have changed. All right, so the next one's gonna be your lead generation days, so typically we use green for that.
Green.
So
Go.
the days are lead generating.
Green. Every day.
So, like it says,
Did we already use green for something though? No?
Yeah, green is, that was on different thing, that was for lead generation, so yeah, it'll be lead generation, so there'll be all the days you're gonna lead generate.
Look what a nerd I am.
Nice, I like it, you're doing such a good job.
Thanks.
Such a good job, that's
Thanks.
amazing.
Thank you. I really like that. I really
Two hours a day,
like
you
words of
that.
encouragement or whatever that was.
Affirmation.
Affirmation. Thank you, Tess. Really like my affirmation words. Have anything on here? I have the key.
So what I use a year at a glance calendar. It's like a full year on the wall, and it hangs up in the office when I have my next office. It'll be up there, but it has all the stuff broken down. And then I use another color, and I do like anniversaries, right? My anniversary, right? Then I look at people that are close to me, their birthdays, and I put all those things on there as well. So that way each day I just look to see if I need to make a phone call. It's just there. And the next piece you're going to transfer over to, which is
You
what page?
do like my birthdays too and all that, or just people?
No, just like my
Your
family,
people?
my family's birthday, just like my parents, my sister, and all that stuff.
Your
Your significant others, significant others, family.
And some of those could be crossovers.
Right. They end up being crossover.
Yeah, yeah, if that's what's happening, then yeah, they're pink.
They're pink for sure.
And then so the same thing, like if you guys can see this, it's all, if you look at my weeks, they're all pretty similar, but like today we have an event we're teaching, so it's an orange. Anything for EXP, I put in orange. Anything in purple are available appointment slots, and I turn them to gray when they've taken. So you should build your schedule like what I was showing you. You build your schedule, those are your spots, like a dentist, a doctor.
What do you do for your grayed out? What
That's why I convert it to gray, so I know it's not an available appointment slot.
Just change color.
And then the idea behind that piece is if I don't fill in my appointment, it says appointment / FU follow up and then / lead generate. So if I don't have appointments, then that's when I should be lead generation, doing more lead generation and more follow up, or that's when I'm running a contract, right? Because I already have my lead generation in here. If you go to the next one, it's all in there. Go to page 199. We're gonna calendar out our perfect week. So the purpose of this too is you're going to take this when you get it approved by the family or your significant other, right? Because it needs to get approved. And you go back with our goals, what we're going to do, like the vacations we're going to go on, right? The perfect, and then this one we're going to do for calendar style. But then you're going to go to your whatever calendar you're using, Outlook, you're using Google, and you're going to duplicate your appointments and make it so you can follow a schedule. Does that make sense? So on this one, we're going to calendar out our Mondays. So personal time first, again, just like we did last time. When you're working out, when you're doing whatever you do for your personal time. We already have our lead generation done. And then write what you're going to do in those times. And if you're going to do it the same time every day of the week, then just go straight across. Let me know when you're done with pink for your personal. You already got the lead generation. So now we'll change the color and make it for your appointments. So the first one you're going to calendar in is when you guys having lunch and breaking bread with somebody. Is that a 12 o'clock appointment? Is that 11:30? Is that a 1 o'clock appointment? And so in my calendar it says lunch TBD, to be determined. Like who I'm meeting with, unless I have to. Then when you have your accountability partners, that would be, for instance, Luke Campbellman, my insurance guy. He's in I think he's the second or third Wednesday of every single month. That's who I meet with. He's on Thursdays actually. I had to move him because of our team But they're to be determined, right, when you first start until you have your accountability partners, and you just take those slots when you put them in your calendar. And then 2 or 3 appointment time slots. And again, I put appointment, FU for follow-up, / lead generate, so all those are slashes. And like I said, if you don't have those appointments taken up, that's your time when you're writing your offers. That's your time when and if you don't have any offers to write, and you don't have anyone to follow up with, that's more lead generation, that turns to green. And then the biggest thing you guys gotta remember on here is anything that's in here, that's gonna be in your weekly calendar, you can't just delete it, you have to move it somewhere else, because these are gonna be things that are gonna be time sensitive for you to hit your goals. So you move it somewhere else. There's times where Tess and I have moved our date night because we had a family friend coming into town, and date nights are just for us too, right? So we moved it to a different day in that week. Right? Or my lead generation had to be moved because I had to do something at 10, right? Like we were talking about, it's an emergency. So I moved it to a different part of that day. So calendar out when you would like your appointments. And I'm sure there's other things too, like if you have your kids to pick up on specific days, a lot of stuff should be in there too. I'm sure you use a calendar for that. I don't know how you guys would do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cozy.
So that's why we talk about paying in personal time. That's personal family time. That stuff comes first. And then you got to calendar your stuff out based on what you have.
Massages.
So,
I guess
as your
that's
phone's
first
down there.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
And then, and if you have a significant other right now, I would say I would encourage you to put a personal time in there and schedule a date night, and then schedule one with your family too. So it's like at least once a month. And then have like a family night where the kids aren't allowed to go anywhere. It's a game night or a movie night, something like that too, right? Like there's things you can do that way. And if you don't have a significant other, that's a personal time. You can go do whatever you want. Or you go to the bar looking for one. I'm just kidding.
Actually, you can't anymore.
You can't anymore, you're right, sorry. Well, maybe next year.
Yeah. I know.
And so you guys don't have to keep these as your colors, but figure out your colors. Again, like we talked about, we did the life wheel, right? And it was all probably jacked up, not as perfect circle. Well, I'm sure if you look at these things too, it'll help balance that out. And it's not balancing your life, it's a counterbalance. We're constantly having to counterbalance where we're at. Because sometimes we're working a ton, sometimes we're too much with sports and stuff, right? And you need to reset. So if there's no pink in there for your personal time, you're not having personal time, you're probably not going to be super happy, right? You need some time to reset. Right? Cool. All right, Sean, we're back.
You done? Yeah. You done?
That was just the kick, so they got to go home and do it, put it in their calendar.
I used to have all mine on a magnet.
Okay, a couple things that I just wanted to mention about that, about your buyers there, Shannon, is you need to have that conversation with them in that consultation. What does your showing system look like? When I'm doing business with you, what is that going to look like? Okay? So share with me what your system is for showing.
especially in this market, I call the listing agent, and if I don't get a hold of them, I text them so I can say, my clients love your listing at so-and-so address, when can we go see it? And we go see it as soon as we can, because this market is nuts. So that's really what I've been doing.
Okay. So what's your showing system? So if I sit down with you, Shannon, and then we're going to dive back into the content. I know we're going to probably wrap up a little bit early, which I know everybody's going to be dying for. But here's the conversation that it needs to look at, Shannon. After we've gone through the heart of our buyer's consultation, we've gone through the needs analysis, I've shared with you my strategy for writing offers and for producing a video. Would you agree that this is a pretty professional outfit that I'm running here? Yes or no? And you can internalize what I'm saying, but you need to use that word professional. So, great. I also want to share with you how I show property so that you're aware of what to expect when we go out and when we're touring properties. Would that be okay with you?
Yes.
This is a system that I created a long time ago that I employ with every client that I do business with. And also, I represented 35 buyers, families that I helped transition into new homes last year. Credibility, right? Then we're going to say, so here's my showing form. And it says what I liked about the house, what I didn't like about the house, and what would I pay for the house. Okay? Shannon, after every house that we see...
She's like, get away.
Maybe it's because I'm in the front row.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I hate to say
Just for the record, if I would have noticed, I would have been like, dude.
I know. I
See,
just told
Sean's
him right
coming up to
then.
Facebook
Whatever.
Live.
I wanted to be discreet.
Okay.
Kind of, you know?
Let's get back to professionalism. All
Yeah.
right.
Right, and
Either
see,
way,
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Just saying, I'm a professional when you agree. She
Okay,
says yes.
so then you say this is a. Let me rework back into it. This is a system that I've employed with the 35 families I've helped last. First part of the form is what I like about the house, what I didn't like about the house, and what I would pay for the house. I typically show no more than 4 or 5 homes in any given setting because what I find out when I've surveyed the buyers, it wears them out after 4 or 5 houses. They don't know, how to compare. It's information overload. So at the end of that showing where I show you 4 or 5 houses, we're going to pull that form out. I'm going to have a contract with me, and I'm going to ask you, out of the 4 or 5 that we looked at, which one you want to write an offer on. Is that okay with you?
no, I don't want to write an offer
I'm
first
not-
day.
You don't have to. I'm just going to pose the question for you because I have a contract with me. We know that that the market is super hot right now. There's a chance, based on days on market, when I look at Granite Bay, it's average of 7 days on market right now. There's a chance by the time we go out there, show the house, and you make a decision whether you want it or not, that it's gone. So my job is to get your foot in the door so that you have the opportunity to purchase the property. So at the end of each, circling back around, at the end of each showing day, 4 or 5, I've got the forms, I'm going to have a contract, I'm going to ask you if you want to make an offer on that. You may not want to make an offer. That's fine, but my job as the professional is to ask that question. What kind of a real estate agent would I be if I didn't ask you if you want to make an offer on the house? That's the system. Now, Shannon, I have one more thing. I have one rule for my clients, and that's this. When we roll up to a house, before you say anything negative about the house, you have to say one thing positive about the house. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
What does that do?
Sets precedent.
It sets the precedence that every time they see a new house, the first thing they have to find is something that they like about the house. It's a mental mind F, okay? That way they don't, I hate this, I hate this. No, we're not going down the hate path. We're going down, what do you like about it? Okay, so Shannon, that's my system. Pretty simple, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's it. You've set the precedence for how things are going to happen during your showing. Now, one thing I will say off the record is typically the first thing I will do is I will go out there and I'll show them 3 hours worth of houses because I want to show them the deck of cards that's currently on the table. And then the analogy that I use is we're going to see everything in the deck of cards that fits your wants and desires and needs. And then from there, as things hit the market, we'll go out there and spot look at things. Now, Shannon, one more thing before we wrap up. What days are you available to see properties? Because I want to go ahead and get those scheduled right now. Okay? Then you're in control.
Because you know what to expect.
You're in control now. You got the time, you got the system, and you've asked for permission up front to write the offer. Or to ask for the business. Okay? Cool?
Cool.
Cool.
Great job overcoming my objection, Sean.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to read you guys something which is on page 221. And this has more to do with what the vision of your business looks like in 2021. I know we just got done out of time blocking, but what do I want my 2021 to look like? I love the volume of 2020. I did not love what I was doing most of the year. I was in the business too much. I want to be meeting with PQ clients, priority clients, but only 50 to 60% of them. I'm confident that my appointments can come down on video to 30 to 35 minutes and cover goals, etc. I also would like to only worry about working and handling leads and questions on the weekend 1 or 2 times a month. Handle almost all weekend calls since the team was tired, but it also left me tired and not having true breaks. We stick to our huddle schedule and we do a monthly review of the previous month where we also deep dive on our goals for quarter and celebrate. We did not celebrate enough this year and did not make it a big enough priority, and the team felt it. The team felt it, and so did I. So monthly review and monthly celebrations. So we're reminded of the good work we are doing. We must also bring surveys each monthly review to give the team shout outs and spin the good wheel for reward. I want to teach the agents more. I want to bring back the masterminds that we did a few years ago and do them twice a year for a month, along with doing monthly lunch and learns for other agents. I also want to get into doing more monthly seminars for our pre-approved clients on their money budget, etc. More time teaching groups to leverage my time better. I want my days to be busy, but not so busy that I can't think. Maybe 3 days a week, or more appointment days, and 2 days a week are my phone calls, videos, etc. I don't like the feeling of coming in and every moment is spoken for. Does not give me my peace of mind and does not let me dream about new ideas or fix what is broken. Personally, I want more breaks. I want at least 4 weeks of vacation and 3 long weekends. I want to be able to pick my kids from school 2 days a week and not have to go home and work for a few hours to make up for it. I want to work 40 hours per week and only an additional 5 if very busy. This will require me to hire one more experienced person that can structure, lock, and solve problems, or we will have to train to get somebody to that level. I also want to work or be on call 1 week in a month. My email is covered by the team and most new leads. I am just doing a thank you call after they have talked to somebody on the team versus me playing phone tag or being the first line of defense. Lastly, I have ensure and work on culture. This year has been a little challenging with COVID and moving offices, being in temp space for 4 months. Many of us came in and kept our heads down, did the work and left. I need to ensure when the team takes a break, they get a break, not a big pile of work coming back to. Good positive attitude and controlling the focus of what we are missing versus all the things that we are catching. I need to flip the glass half empty view and not allow others to change that narrative. Really act more like a leader and have these attitudes first so others will follow and call out others when they are not following our core value. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. So think about, guys, what your vision for 2021 looks like. Outside of the calendar, what's the narrative? What's the narrative for you, your family, your vacation, your impact on others, your wealth? What's important to you? And we're not going to do it now because we're running short on time. But please take the opportunity to go and create this narrative for you. Share it with your family, share it with your team, share it with whoever you're doing business with. Okay? Anything else you want to add to that? Okay.
No, that's good.
So I've got the 10 realtor laws, I think. It's GPS 411. Here's test. Okay, turn to 286. This should really be up on your walls or as part of your vision board. But if we look at these 10 items, we're talking about really implementing a great top 25 program, working our database, seeing 15 people face to face, conducting lunch and learns, educational events, gifting. You guys good at gifting? There's this class on EXP that's great about gifting. But there's the law of reciprocity, right? We always talk about, too, one of the 21 ways to kill the listing presentation in a good way is to bring a gift to that listing client, to bring a gift to the buyer client. There's the law of reciprocity.
There's also a podcast I just listened to called
Okay.
Giftology.
Yeah.
I
think
want
you were
to dig
telling me about that.
more into it, but
Yeah.
it was really good.
So we're gifting. We have got team culture, not only your sales team, your organizational team, but if you're, your TC, what does that look like? Is she, Megan Martin is an awesome TC, and she goes above and beyond. Like right? Wouldn't you say, Chrissy? Yeah. She's phenomenal. So I got to make sure that we're gifting to her, that we're taking care of her, that we're, sending her Rayleigh's gift cards for her kids and family. Builders, if you don't have any, builders or geographic farm, okay? So you guys all committed to starting with 500 to 1,000 in the area. Then we talk about the whale list, which are rich people or influential people, people who have big databases. You're regularly calling them to get appointments and sending personalized wow gifts for them. Then we talked about the video program, doing your videos, and then ultimately self-balance, which has to do with the calendaring. So those are the 10 realtor laws. We did the core in the back here. You've got the core sales test, which should give you a good reference point of where you're at in regards to having a relationship-based account pyramid business. Next, got the life test, and this has to do with you and your family. Then we've got the money test. We talked a lot about money today and how much you need to save, your survival number. And then we've got the management and organization test, which is more about your team and organization and how you're running them. And then finally there's the marriage test, which is really great. And we're gonna wrap this thing up with doing the languages of love and texting your results to your significant other. Kind of uncomfortable, but we're gonna do it.
Whatever your significant other is in the room.
We're beyond that, Eric.
So there's there.
The best part is I saw it like 6 hours ago. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Just so you know who your friends are.
Good
I would
friend,
have told you
right?
immediately.
Then you've got the core marriage test.
It's kind of hard when you're standing
But
after
you-
next to him. Like, dude, your flies on zip.
Use these for if you're running a team or have an organization. Use them to survey the people in your organization. Give the marriage test to your significant other or spouse. Follow as you go through 2021. Make a couple copies of these and see how you're doing on them, or just pick 1, 2, or 3 of them and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to knock it out. These tests are your litmus tests to see if you're growing throughout 2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was just going to touch on these real quick because
Yeah.
we ran out of time. So if you go to the GPS, which is right after the marriage test. So we talked about kind of your business side a lot today. There's probably some personal stuff we talked about too. So the goal here is like, what's the one goal, like the biggest goal that you can think of? If you don't achieve that, like the year wasn't a success. If you do achieve it or get real close, it was a super successful year for you. So for me, and what I usually do is I put in there in terms of, I break it down into like the number of units, the number of volume that we want to do, right? Because I know that if we make that money, we'll be able to do everything else we want to do, right? So then the next step is your 3 priorities to achieve those. So your three priorities, right? So number 1 for us, for us this past year was sphere of influence. Then you break it down to how many units and how much volume is going to come from that, and then it's your 5 strategies to achieve that in your first priority. Does that make sense? You guys following? So unfortunately we ran out of time today, but this is what we were going to do at the end, was to set up your plan. So this is like your 1-page plan that you can kind of follow. There's a second one in there, and that's going to be your personal goal. It could be to save money, it could be to buy a house, it could be to lose weight, it could be to work out a certain amount of times. But what I want you guys to realize is it needs to have a number behind it, something to track, right? If you just say, I want to get in better shape, that's not specific at all. Like, how are you going to know if you're in shape? Like, I want my body mass to be this. Body mass index, right? Is that right? Is that right? I don't know. As you can tell, I don't know.
BMI.
The thought process, though, is it has to have some kind of a quantitative piece to it so you can track where you were, and then there's 2 ways to do this. There's one way, which is an achievable goal, right, that you know you can hit. You're still stretching yourself and pushing yourself, and there's like a big goal where you maybe not hit it, but if you get 70% of it, you're still going to be happy, yeah, right? And then if you do the one where you make it super easy to achieve for you, what I want you to do is when you get into like July, when you've already accomplished it, I want you to reset your goal and make it bigger. Does that make sense? So you have your business one, and then your personal side, whatever that one thing this year is for your personal life. And then finally is the 411. And so that's where you're breaking down your yearly goal into your monthly goals. And the bottom, so you have your annual goals, and that's personal and business, you notice, right? Then your monthly goals. Then you break it down to your weekly, what you were supposed to do. Now, the key thing here to keep you on track is if you had, say, 3 or 4 items to do on the first week for your personal side, and you only did 3 of them, well, then the following week you need to add that piece you missed, otherwise you're not going to be on track. Does that make sense? So you're filling out the weekly thing each week. And then what I'd like you guys to do is schedule someone to be your accountability partner for next year. You might already have a coach or something like that, but share them with the coach. And if you don't have a coach, someone in this room become accountability partners for next year, and just weekly check-ins. And you're going to send each other your results, and that's going to be your accountability partner to help you track your goals. Okay? So if you don't have an accountability partner yet, you're going to find someone today in class before we leave. And then the other piece, you can do this with your allied resources, like we were talking about earlier. Cool.
Okay, go to 248. Let's knock out the love languages, and then we're out of here.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
I know, all the things.
Yeah.
Yes, all the things.
These words of affirmation. That.
And presence.
Number 2.
She calls you brilliant.
Wow.
That's not good enough.
Sometimes.